I had like posters on my wall of coming Earth changes, what they were going to look like. It seems to either have gone completely away, or it's been delayed, or it's never going to happen at all. So I think that we're probably entering a phase where we're going to see some Earth changes. Now, there's been a big prediction of an Earth change event in Japan, and that's supposed to happen, I believe, at 5 a.m. on the 5th of July. So, whatever that translates to Japan time, while we're celebrating the 4th of July, we may see a massive earthquake hit Japan, and that'll create a tsunami, which will impact the entire Pacific, even impacting the coast of California, Washington, and Oregon. We've had in the past a massive earthquake and tsunami that was triggered off the coast of Oregon that impacted Japan. So and Peru had a massive earthquake which impacted Hawaii, caused many deaths and so forth. So these big earthquakes and tsunamis can impact far out from where they originate. So let's kind of look at this. Ready for the 4th here in Virginia City. Excellent. Yeah, Virginia City. You're up high, so you're up there. Like I am. I'm in a safe place according to Earth changes. So maybe that's why I was drawn here. And I do actually feel that is why. All right. So and then people are like, well, if they know these Earth change events are coming, why don't they tell everybody? Because people would panic, and they'd go to places and they'd like ruin the possibility of people that are in safe places from surviving, because everybody would flock there and destroy the resources, the food and everything. So I think that's why they don't like let it on that it's coming. I think in Europe you're seeing some potential massive mega earthquake, tsunami, and volcanic activity, super volcanic activity that just seems to want to just pop at any moment. And they're not running people out of those areas. So if they do, then tourism doesn't come, and they don't make money from that. And if it doesn't happen, then those places are out of all that resource, money, and so forth. And if those people move, somebody has to move them and take care of them and feed them and so forth. So you see how this can work. If they know something's coming, and this is the way it's been throughout time. They warn people. If you want to move, you can move. If you don't want to move, then it's up to you. You're whatever happens, that's your choice, and we're not responsible. So they give very, very vague insights of what could possibly be. So I just left Florida. Florida's getting super heavy rains right now. I feel Florida's going to be very wet, right? Very wet, as in maybe no more Florida, possibly. All right, so right now we're going to see in the next several days this the tropics ramping up. And let's look at this piece right here.
From this as well. Taking a look at satellite right there, convection is blowing up on all around Florida. To. And like Yoshi said, the Outer Banks is also an area that we are watching as well. So that's kind of the situation.
All right. So we're dealing with. We're just, if you can probably see the picture. Some of you, it sounds like you couldn't hear it. It's like one of those ongoing things I have a problem with here with this big computer that's supposed to be like super advanced. But I do it on my laptop and everything's fine, but on the massive computer, not so much. So I don't know. So is Michael Jacob making another prediction, which proves true? Possibly. I've been worried about Japan for months in an intuitive way. So that's good. So some of you have been picking up on this. One of my old bosses was an ex-Navy, an original dive team, precursor to SEALs. He would tell me of the horrors of pulling bodies bothered him. So yeah, so there's lots of different things could happen in these tsunamis. So yeah, pulling bodies from the water after tsunamis would be horrific for those that have to go in and clean that up. So is it coming? Is it? Are there possibilities of that happening? Well, let's look at a little bit of this. And I'm not fear mongering. I'm just bringing awareness. Maybe it doesn't happen because we, use our power of prayer and prevent it from happening. So that's what I like to see. And maybe I and millions of other people that are intuitive are just getting bad information. That's possible too. So just be aware that some of this stuff comes from different sources that you can sometimes rely on and then sometimes not, but they are sources of information. So here we're going to look at Japan on edge, mangas, July 5th, disaster prophecy sparks panic. Is history about to repeat? So this is, as you guys can see, July 3rd, 2025 at 1:50. Japan is on edge as manga artist prediction of a catastrophic disaster on July 5th. And I believe it's at 5 a.m. So that's July 5th, 5 a.m. Japan time. So figure that out, and I'll probably look at that later. But it says gains traction fueled by her accurate forecast of 2011. Now, I've seen some other stuff. People have been following her work for a while and deciphered. She had 15 different predictions. I think 11 have come true. And if this one comes through, that's 12. And then she goes on to talk about how there's basically around the world, there's lots of problems. And that's what I've seen for a long time as well. I didn't know when it would happen. Is it happening now? Is it happening in 2026, which is what one of my brilliant scientist types, one of the most brilliant guy I know, was telling me about all this stuff. He's got a place picked out up in Virginia. I'm not going to tell you where, but he was telling me all kind of stuff. I thought I was well informed. He's just absolutely incredibly brilliant. But we might do a show together and talk about some of the stuff. But he is, on the verge of leaving Florida too. He's getting the heebie-jeebies about Florida as well. So, and I'm not trying to make you guys in Florida pick up and run, with your pants on fire. You got to trust your own intuition on this stuff. Maybe you're supposed to stay there when the disaster hits. I don't know. Not everybody survives, and not everybody lives forever, right? So that's one of those quotes from movies. But so this was first published in 1999, right? And so she had the chilling. So everybody's looking at her stuff, and then people started to notice, especially in March 2011, where she predicted this tsunami. Obviously, that was accurate. So major disaster in March 2011, scrawled on the cover of her manga, artist. It's like, those, the manga artists are the ones in Japan where they do comic type stuff. So that was what she did. She just put it all in a manga, a bunch of manga books or whatever. And so it says that apparent prediction led to a cult following, and now renewed concern following the release of an expanded 2021 edition that flags July 5th, 2025 as the date of another devastating event. Now, Tatsuki describes a powerful eruption in the Philippine Sea, triggering a tsunami 3 times the height of 2011's waves. So while the manga stopped short of naming a location, readers and media have latched onto the eerie specificity. According to Bloomberg, the date has become a topic of serious discussion, surfacing cafes, bars, and social feeds across the country. So everybody's talking about it. Of course, the mainstream scientists are saying you can't predict tsunamis or earthquakes, blah, 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 right? But there sure does seem to be a lot of activity coming off the sun. And then after that activity, there's lots of volcanic and earthquake activity. And we've had a lot of stuff just launched from the sun. So it's coming at us. So it could hit us around this time frame. So it could be something that actually happens. We'll see. Maybe we'll wake up July 6th and everything's hunky dory, and we'll go, oh, another disaster prediction that never came to pass. So, but do you want to be living the path of that? I don't, because when somebody predicts this stuff, now I predicted that there was going to be some pretty significant tsunamis this year, and this would fulfill that quite potently. And on the level that I saw it, I thought it was going to be a very, very significant tsunami that was going to happen this year. Maybe more than one. So we'll see. And, we have the Pacific Northwest is due for a major earthquake. And people are talking about that. So will this one trigger? And then another one triggers over there. That's usually how these things happen. They predict, they go off in one area, and then they travel around the ring of fire, and they pop off somewhere else, because the energy if it's not all released, it will travel around and build up energy and release somewhere else. And depending on the depth is another indicator of how severe it's going to be. So if it's a deep, very high magnitude earthquake, it usually translates into a more shallow one that's larger. So this has been documented. A lot of people have been looking at that. Of course, the mainstream science doesn't want you to believe that or understand that, because they want to be in charge of all this. They want to tell you when it's safe to leave. Do we want to trust them? Hell no. So that's why we have to work together and look at these predictions, and these people that have really good success at predicting stuff, like myself, right? So I would pay attention to this, whether it happens there or it happens the next day or 3 days later or 3 weeks later. I think we're due. I think we're definitely going to see a very major earthquake that causes very high levels of tsunami around the world. So July 5th, the dream that Japan fears is coming true. Let me show this other, probably just going to share the video of it because the sound doesn't seem to be working so good. So let's look at this.
Short sleeves, even though
so she had the date in another dream, July 5th, as it's showing right here. So she was able to predict. Let's go back. And it talks about how she was able to predict 12 future disasters. So let's see if it shows it in here. Future disaster in terrifying detail. Forgotten manga sketched by anonymous woman. So describe tsunamis, deaths, even specific dates. And every time the world thought it was just a coincidence, but it wasn't. Because 12 of her prophetic 15 dreams have come true. So there you go. All right. So I would say she's got a pretty good batting average. So we shouldn't just blow this off. All right. So look at there during that time frame. Let's look. Because if I don't pull this up, you guys are just gonna blow this off. And then if you're on the West Coast partying on the beach, you're gonna get swept away. No, usually they have early warning systems that are gonna pick that stuff up. So you'll at least have a half hour to head for the mountains with everybody else that's trying to charge up those mountains at the same time. See those movies where everybody's trying to go up the mountains and people just start getting out of their car because they're not moving because they see the water coming and they start running up, and then everybody's getting taken out. And then the stars of the show. So if you're a star, you're probably going to survive. So just keep that in mind. So whatever you do, I want to be near you. So, and then the stars are like running, and the water comes up, people screaming, it's overcoming the cars, and cars are being flipped and thrown, and they run faster and faster and faster, and then the water just like creeps up along their shins or whatever, and then stops. It's like, yeah, that happens for real. Never. All right. So, I would have an escape plan. I have all the friends that I know. Full moon around the corner. Let's write Sully. So won't be full moon. It's pretty getting there, but it's not going to have that much of a pull. It could. When I was in Florida, it seemed like it was like a full moon tide every day for like the last couple of weeks we were there. I was like, oh, this is creepy. I'm glad we're getting out of here. But it is definitely something we need to be aware of. All right, so Japan time, Pacific time. Let's see what it says. All right, the conversion. Let's go to July 4th. And let's go to 5 a.m. So 5 a.m. Tokyo time is 1:30 p.m. So it'll be like 1 o'clock tomorrow, July 4th. And let's look at July 5th. July 5th. So still gonna be 1:30, but it's gonna be 1:30. So July 5th, 5:30 times of Tokyo will be 1:30 for the Pacific. So on the 4th. So if you're at the beach, enjoying the beach, and the West Coast, all the way up the West Coast, during that time frame, during 1 o'clock or so, you probably hear about the earthquake, if there is one. If it's in the Philippines, like they're talking about, and it really, you'll probably have like a couple hours, maybe more. Maybe even we could see the fireworks going off, and that's when the tsunami comes. I don't know. So what a great way to bring in the fireworks, right? Big tsunami from the Pacific. All right, so that's kind of what that looks like. Now the Navy actually came out with a future map, and it's supposed to be a future map of 2026 is when they were predicting this particular map. All right, so U.S. Navy map of future America. So somewhere in 2026, but it could be earlier. From what my contact is saying, it could be as early as September of this year, and as late as, I don't know, March or something of next year. So there is a little window. I don't know. That's pretty catastrophic. Now, where I'm at in Nevada, right up in here, that curve in California, right in there is where Lake Tahoe is. So I'm in a good spot. So you guys in Florida, not so much where I left, according to this map, not at all. So, and then of course, right up through the Mississippi, that's supposed to flood. I've seen that on many different maps all along the East Coast. The West Coast, surprisingly, not as bad, at least for this map. But for Washington, Oregon, pretty much not so good. All right, so that is the map. So look at Nevada, Utah, good chunk of Idaho, little piece of Wyoming, Colorado, Arizona, deserts, pretty much big chunk of California is gone, or would be according to this one. It looks like Alaska and the Hawaiian Islands, they look okay. So if you look at, it won't go much bigger. So if you look at those areas right there, look like they're going to survive all right. So the dark areas are basically the areas that go bye-bye, right? So the Houston looks like it goes. So it's got different commercial power reactors, nuclear power reactors. They're showing those. Georgia, 2 of those go out. Looks like along the coast of Texas, and then pretty much everything in Florida goes. But Again, this is just a rendition. Somebody in the Navy, we don't know. Maybe some of you guys out there might know a little bit more about that. Maybe my friend will know more because he's very knowledgeable about some of these things. All right, so let's look at Gordon Michael Scallion. So I followed him. I used to actually have his maps of the future world on my wall in a spare bedroom. So as you can see here, looks like California. You got the California Islands. Looks like everything's devastated. Pretty much even the mountainous areas are gone. So same thing with the Mississippi River being flooded pretty significantly. You still have a little bit of Florida. The area where I was at is gone too. Same as this map. But up and down the coast, Georgia, really deep into Georgia. The Navy map wasn't as much. But that's the one for the North America, and then he's got one for the world. I know I have people that watch this from all over the world. So let's look at what the worldwide map looks like. Looks like Africa gets pretty chunked out, but still good portions of it. Same thing, of course. This is a map, but this is the interesting thing, and this is what the MAGA woman said as well. She saw land rising. It's like Lemuria comes back. So I think that's another little piece of Lemuria, and then this massive piece of Lemuria there. So looks like Aussie, the land down under, they do well. This is something that the people of the ancient people of Australia, they have said that they've been through a lot of these cataclysms and they've lived through them. The coastline always gets devastated. From what they say, that's why they live and move on the inland areas. And then more land rises all around New Zealand. So New Zealand gets a push up, bra, a push up, right? So, and India looks like it survives fairly well. Europe is gone. Europe is pretty much gone. Pieces of good chunks of Russia still are there. Scandinavian islands looks like they're there. I think that's been throughout time. And then there's a little pieces of Atlantis come back on both the North American coast of America and then of course off the coast of Europe. And this has been talked about in the past, where the Spanish talk about Lemuria or Atlantis, and how some of the Spanish are descendants of Atlanteans. So these are all stuff that we've seen throughout time. Looks like South America gets taken out pretty well. I don't know. It looks like nothing left of the Caribbean islands. Maybe you get a little push up, but I don't see it. At least not in Gordon Michael Scallion's map. And he talked about this for a long time. He talked about how for decades he talked about all these earth changes, and a lot of stuff. I followed him for a long time. I did his newsletter. I made comments on his newsletter. We sometimes had conversations back and forth. But he was amazing. And it seemed like all of his predictions, so forth, he just stopped. He just stopped. And I think that was around 2012. So we just didn't see any more from him, and haven't I don't even know if he's still around or what. But he's if he is, he's pretty old. But he was exceptionally gifted psychic. He even knew, like I've been able to do on several occasions, predict earthquakes and so forth. And he did it like really accurately. And then it just kind of like seemed to lose it, or he didn't want to share anymore because his time frame didn't work out. So he thought that maybe that he was completely off and just stopped sharing, I think. So that happens, unfortunately, to some psychics. They start to lose a little bit. But, life goes on. Life goes on. Will President Trump tell everybody about the coming earth changes? Maybe he hasn't been informed about it. And if President Trump came out and said, you guys on the East Coast, you better get out of there. And what do you think is going to happen? everybody's going to get up and run. So that's going to be, there are probably more people that would die from people running, guys, than if we just okay, let's just see how this works out, right? It's not going to be good for those people that most of those people are there, but if most of those people panic and run and trample everybody, and you get those panic people living somewhere else, then it really wouldn't work out so good. So that's why I think, and there's lots of different, Peeps would panic. Yep. He would. I don't think he would do it. I agree with you, Sully. I don't think he would do it. Or if he did reveal something, he would do it kind of like what he did with Putin with the soccer ball. You guys remember that? So I was just on a show with Derek Johnson. If you didn't see it, it's a great show. He's got great insights. Now he's not a guy that's like big into intuition, and he believes that guys like me can pick some of that stuff up, but he's not big into it. He's not into aliens and a lot of other stuff. He's a very analytical guy, and he does an exceptional job. And so he was talking about how Putin, you guys remember when Donald Trump and Putin got together, and Putin gave him the soccer ball? So according to Derek, that was telegraphing what was coming. So this is a call just recently. President Donald Trump held a call with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday morning. And of course, Putin was in some kind of major conference or something event, and he's like, I have to leave because I have to go talk to Donald. I can't leave him waiting. So he went and had that call. So they discussed stuff. Said the call with Putin came as President Zelensky of Ukraine said publicly he wanted to discuss weapons supplies with Trump. Trump's not going to give him any because he was trying to get Zelensky to be peaceful before the earth changes. Right? Just be peaceful because a lot of people are going to die. So, but anyway, they're going to not supply Zelensky with weapons. And of course, this is part, I believe, of the plan that Trump had with Putin. Does that look like Putin? It looks like number 4 Putin to me. I don't know. But and yes, there are a couple of Donald Trumps out there, but there is a real Donald Trump too. I don't know that there's a real Putin anymore. So, but whoever's playing Putin, I think is doing a good job. I don't like him as much as Trump, but he's going to take care of his people. And if he has to trample on our people to take care of his people, he would do that in a second, just like we would do that for him, to him and his people. But there's no reason why Russia and the United States should have any kind of problems. Russia's always been a great ally, in a Revolutionary War, the Civil War. They gave us Alaska. So they've been, great allies. And it's just the evil people that are here on Earth trying to control us that are, trying to go after Russia over and over again. All right. So President Trump said, I'm not happy about that because he tried to make so this is the narrative, guys. Remember, there's a real thing that happened and there's a narrative. So Trump said that he's like, well, let's do peace. And I guess Vladimir was like, nah, I'm not so sure about that. But it's already been planned. And I've been saying this for a long time. And then Derek Johnson came out, I thought, really good today. And brought that out, because they already had this plan. And when you see stuff start to unfold, and you're like, okay, there's the plan that they came out with long ago. And Derek was talking about how some people will, and I've seen this a lot. I've noticed this as well. I've talked about it a lot. Some people will be like, okay, we'll make a deal with you. You can have this, but you have to do this, or you have to let this go, and you can't have that. That's the way deals are done. And so look at this. Back in the day, when was this? 6 years ago. So this is 6 years ago, where Putin gave the soccer ball to Donald Trump. Now, remember, Americans, we're pretty much more into football, but as hard and as much as we love football, I'm not so much into football anymore because I know it's rigged. But as hard as most of us love football or used to, right, until we figured out it was rigged, then imagine that same thing with the soccer. Of course, they're rigged as well, but people love those games. Their whole lives revolve around that. That's why in Europe they lose a soccer match, they riot. So, and yeah, in America we do the same thing. Even the people that win like riot. It's like, geez. So Putin gives Trump a ball from the World Cup. So I don't know, maybe the World Cup was in Russia at one time, or I don't follow the World Cup. That's a soccer match, or they call it football. And so the soccer match, again, remember, everybody else in the world but America loves soccer like we love football.
Mr. President, I'll give the ball to you, and now the ball is in your court. All the more that
So he gave him the ball, and he says, the ball is now in your court. Of course, President Trump being quite the gentleman, and probably there was some kind of meaning behind it, he handed the ball off to Melania and told her to give it to their son, right, Barron. So interesting. So this was the start. So they're telling us that, and Russia knows this is the deal. You're going to enter Ukraine and destroy the Nazis in Ukraine and destroy NATO. This is part of the deep state. We're going to work together. They took your country down, and you were able to push them out with their help at the end, right? Because the United States basically, starved them out with the money. And then the whole Soviet Union collapsed. Juan O'Savins talked about this, and I knew this is how it worked too. So they, now the deep state tried to do that with Russia, but Russia was like, that worked against the Soviet Union. That's not going to work with a sovereign country. That's, we know how the deep state works. So of course the deep state tried to, do the monetary thing with Russia, and of course the good guys are already ready for that. So this is part of the deal as well. So they're like, you're going to be, the world's going to be aligned against you, and you have to be ready for that when you do this thing to take down the deep state. And you know how much you love soccer? You're not going to have soccer. You're not going to be able to do soccer or football, right? So what we're seeing right now, and we've already seen this, and Derek brought this to my attention. I was like, that's why they did the old soccer ball thing. The ball is in your court, President Trump. So Russia will not participate in the 2026 World Cup due to a ban imposed following the invasion of Ukraine. So remember, it's 555 people looking at it right now. So numbers, it just popped a little higher. So now remember that we have Russia doing the dirty work, just like we had Israel doing the dirty work against the deep state. But you're going to have those people that don't understand that, and they're going to whine, they're going to cry and say nasty things about certain people, like they're doing. But look at the people that are dying, and from the Russian military, man, that are dying to take down this evil deep state. The Israeli military that's dying to take down this deep state, Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran. So it's a tough go right now. And so remember back in 2023, the World Cup qualification process, the ban meant Russia cannot participate in 2026 World Cup qualification, and they were banned from the 2022 World Cup in Qatar. After they started the invasion, so they couldn't do what they all love. It would be like Americans: you can't play football, You can't have the Super Bowl anymore. And we'd be like, I'd be like, I don't care. I don't follow anymore anyway. I could have I could have been a pro in the football, but I decided to become a Navy SEAL, and we talked about that. So anyway, that is what Russia did. They had to give up. They had to give up a lot of stuff to do what they're doing right now, and thanks to Derek Johnson now we can see that. Now we can see that. We can see that in a lot of things now. We see it in one thing, and then we can superimpose it onto other things that have been happening. Right. So that was a really good interview I did with him. I highly recommend you watch that. Basically, we broke down a lot of stuff. The two of us have been on all kinds of different shows together, military roundtables and all kind of other roundtables, right? And we've been hammering it, the two of us, and a lot of other military professionals too that are very, very wise and do really good job. All right. So superimposing this over onto Israel, right? So are Israel and Iran. So you see Iran, hundreds of Iran's IRGC soldiers, officers defecting to Israel, intel agencies, reported Mossad account. So I predicted this very early on, that we would see potentially the Shah of Iran's son come back. And I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's the best course. Of course, he's not going to come in like we've seen in the past and impose a lot of different things. So if he imposes some things, that would not sit well with the Iranian people. That would mean he's basically part of the deep state. He's handled by the deep state. I don't think they're not going to let that happen. So it says the Mossad Farsi appears to be a resourceful account. When Iran refused to publicly name the new military chief, because when I was in the CIA and we drone struck leaders of different factions, Taliban or Al Qaeda, whatever, we take out their leadership, and there's different sects, different groups of these. There's not just one, so there's multiple ones. So we would take out a leader of a certain one, and then somebody else would step up, and then we take that one out. And then somebody else would step up, then we take that one out. And then they played a game with us one time, and I called the game. I told everybody they're playing a game with us. We took that guy out because I was watching him, and I got to feel I was sending in love. All right, so for a year, and then he went bye-bye. They did a drone strike on him, and then they came out and said, "Oh no, drone strike didn't kill him. He's still alive." And all the people that were like, in the CIA that I had called it that he's going to be dead on this next strike, they're like, "You got it wrong." I'm like, "Nope, I'm right." So for a year, I had to put up with their bullshit, telling me that I was wrong. Then eventually, after a year, they came out and said, "Yeah, he's dead." And I said, "You know why they didn't do that? Because we keep killing them." So somebody was behind the scenes, taking charge, and they want to let everybody know. So that's what's happening here. They have someone so the IDF is basically Israeli Defense Force. Is basically somebody steps up to like, okay, I'm the leader after the IDF just did a missile strike. And then a week or two later, that guy would die, like what we were doing, right? And then somebody else take charge, and boom, boom, boom. So they're like, they're not revealing who the latest victim was going to be. Right? So the IDF said, "Oh, you guys are trying to hide that, right? Okay." So the account revealed General Katam al-Anibaya as the new head of the regime's wartime military command. So it was only a matter of time before that guy goes bye-bye. So they're like, screw this. Why are we protecting this guy? These mullahs. All right. The people don't like him anyway. It's like 80, 90% of the people don't like him. and they give us a good job and they pay us well, and we wouldn't get this otherwise. So, but is it worth it? So a lot of these guys are defecting, and I said this would happen, and I said that remember they said the Mullah Khomeini. A lot of people were saying Mullah Khomeini, whatever his name is dead. And I'm like, just like I did with this other mullah in Pakistan, I was like, no, he's still alive. And of course, he came out later, and he came out and talked like I knew he would, and because he was dead, I felt him, because I sent him love too. Right? I said I'm sending him love. So he's not going to last much longer, or he's going to go to the light and become a good guy. Will he become a good guy? There's a possibility, right? Maybe if I keep sending love, he'll go to the light, right? So the mysterious social media account recently identified as an official channel for messages from Israel's Mossad. You guys can do this too. You guys can send love, and it's very effective. It's not like I'm like a hitman for the God's love. I just send it. It's their choice from that point. At this time, it called on followers to guess who they thought is now hitting, blah, blah, blah. So this is brilliant. It says Iran was not revealing any on its new head of their emergency military command. Scared, no doubt he would be. Of course, he would eliminate like his predecessor. So they're not liking it. And so Crown Prince Pahlavi sees this weakening of the Iranian regime in the wake of the Israel and U.S. strikes as an opportunity for toppling the mullah regime after 46 years of tyrannical rule that these amazing, beautiful people of Iran have to put up with. They're very peaceful people. That's why they're a lot of people in the Middle East are very peaceful people, although you would not know that because they have this 1% that foment, barbarism around the world. So Crown Prince says the weakening regime, this is our Berlin Wall moment. The 64-year-old exiled prince said in a recent address to the Iranian people, he asked his countrymen to imagine an Iran without this regime. Imagine. So create in your mind. Bring into existence. Manifest this new Iran, a free and democratic Iran living at peace with our neighbors, an engine of growth and opportunity. I see this for Iran. I've seen this for a long time. I didn't know when it was going to come, but here I feel we're at that moment. Iran's exiled prince Pahlavi announced the launch of a secure communication channel for Iranian military, law enforcement, security, and government personnel who wish to connect with him and his team. I believe this is really the only way this is going to happen. So I've seen some other groups in their own talk shows. They're like, we the people are going to do this. That ain't happening, guys. And if it does, it will be so messed up. It'll be like the Iranian Revolution 46 years ago. It'll be all discombobulated. No one in the world will want to help them. So this is their way. And I don't agree. Some people have said, and I think this is a disinformation push, that Pahlavi is part of the deep state. I don't agree with that at all. Not at all. He may know them just like Trump knows them, and he knows his enemy, and he can move around his enemy, but he is creating, I believe, will help. I don't think he's going to be a ruler. I think he's going to be a transition person for the new Iran, which is coming in the distance. So Pahlavi pledged to keep participants regularly informed about developments and called on trusted members of Iran's armed and security forces to unite with the nation. Now, we've seen reports of there's gunfire and attacks that are happening in different cities. This seems to be happening every night. So I think there's a possibility in the very short near term that we'll see the fall of the old regime. And why? Why did I move, Ed? Because I see earth changes coming. All right, so that's one of the reasons why I believe we're going to see good success, because there are people that are creating a new world. By creating a new world, we'll be able to see new things coming. So when certain things are destructed, whether it be land masses that no longer exist, or whether it be political systems, or whatever, economic systems. I don't think we're going to have religions like we have now. I think there will be a connection to source, but the religions are pretty compromised. So when you have a political system and religious systems that are incredibly compromised, they can't go forward. So we're moving into a level of consciousness and creation capabilities, manifesting, that are not going to allow these negative forces to, come into existence. So big, beautiful bill passes House, heads to Trump's desk, right? Just like predicted. Trump's going to sign this. It's going to be a July 4th celebration. There's going to be tax relief across the board. All the Democrats that cried. Not one Democrat voted for this bill. And I think there were two GOP rhinos that voted for it. I think one of them was Massey. I can't remember the other guy, but so it's done. It's a done deal. And we'll see many good things. Now, one of them, I didn't want to say it while it was coming out, but it's hearing protection that's coming out. One of those things in the bill is for those of us that like to use silencers on weapons. That's going to be, you don't have to go through this long rigmarole of applying for it, and they come back and they say, no, you're not qualified because your driver's license had a you were off by one number on the drive. I don't know. So they didn't like you because you're on some kind of hit list for the Biden administration. So they're basically going to make it just like like a light or a sight. So it'll be in the future, because it is hearing protection. It's hearing protection also for those people you come to shoot. Right? So they're not going to have hearing damage before they get a bullet between their eyes. So that's really good. And for those of us that shoot just to shoot, right? There's most of us do that. We don't shoot other people unless we absolutely have to, and it's rare that we would, unless you're in the military and special forces, because the other, military rarely shoots anybody. So if you look at, if you've ever shot a silenced weapon, when you pull on an unsilenced weapon, when you pull the trigger, there's a shock, a recoil in the barrel, right? And then you have to get it back on target and shoot again. With a silencer, it barely moves. You like that now? Do you like that? Right. So those of you have never fired with a silencer, plus, it is like so quiet. It's not completely quiet, but it's mostly quiet. It's very good. Right. So that's in the bill. Happy now? Right. So I know all you shooters, or all of you that are like, I don't even have a gun. I don't give a shit about that. Well, those of us that will shoot them around you, you won't hear it as much. Like you go to the shooting range, and there'll be occasional crack by somebody that can't, I guess, afford a silencer. So, but everybody else is going to have silencers. I promise you. It's going to be that if you're in the silencer business, you're happy right now. Right. So, and also seniors, I don't think are going to be taxed in their Social Security, which is like ridiculous. If you're in the not entertainment, but in the waitress, business, whatever, bartenders, you make tips. You're not going to be taxed on your tips. If you do overtime, you won't be taxed on overtime. Wow, there's a lot of benefits in this. And why would we have, these Democrats do these long speeches? So Hakeem Jeffries delays final vote with marathon floor speech. That's pretty much what I think about it. It's spit. The bill cleared a key hurdle early this morning after the president and House Speaker Mike Johnson persuaded a group of Republican holdouts to change their votes. So Hakeem Jeffries, what was the time on that? I'll see if I can find it. It was the longest ever. And I guess over in the Senate, they had the longest ever Senate. Whoever the State Senator Sharon Jones. That's not it. Do I have that? No, I did have it. But anyway, just know that Democrats don't care. They don't care about, all the money you pay. They made up stuff. They make up a lie and then they push it. It's disgusting. The Democrat Party don't care about us. They care about their. I think they were talking about Medicaid is going to get cut. I bet it's not. I bet they made it up. I bet it's going to be better. Does Trump ever do anything that's going to be negative to anybody? Never. I've never seen it. Right? Maybe somebody can clue me up that maybe there was one offhand chance, but I don't know. So when the Netherlands will be gone, I am gone too. So sad, not fun. So the Netherlands, right? You guys in the Netherlands have followed me for 4 years. You've been big, and I look at the viewership all around the world. The people in the Netherlands, I'd say on a percentage basis, probably one of the biggest viewerships. Yeah, I hope you guys are in the Netherlands because have a lot of Scottish, and then I have a lot of Scandinavian blood. So I hope you guys survive, right? And I think you will because I think you've been through this before. So you'll figure it out. Everyone's going to figure it out, and maybe it won't even happen. I hope it doesn't happen. So just be heads up. Trust your intuition, right? It'll lead you to where you need to be, and maybe you just stay where you're at, and it'll be right. Don't worry about it. If you worry, that's going to put you in a negative. All right, so Jeffries pushes back. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Democrat in New York, spoke in the chamber floor against the bill for a record-breaking 8 hours and 44 minutes, delaying the final vote. So 8 hours and 44 minutes of wasted breath. Didn't do anything, did it? All right, so God, what a waste of flesh. All right. So like I said, same thing happened over in the Senate. One of the Senate Democrats basically, I don't know. I don't think the Senate Democrats voted for the bill either. So there you go. The Democrats don't care about the American people. They want you taxed. They're the party of taxation. They're the party of letting children come across the border and be turned into slaves or something else. 300,000 of them went missing. So, and 10 million came over to basically replace me and you. And the same thing is happening in the Netherlands and then all throughout Europe. And maybe that's why there needs to be a cleaning. I don't know. Kind of like that. What was that one Batman movie where the Joker's like, this town needs an enema. This earth needs an enema. I don't think so, but it's up to the earth. Is the earth going to let us survive on it, or is the earth going to like shake us like fleas, shake us off? All right, I don't know, but let's look at what else is going on. Crazy stuff that's going on economy-wise. Let me see what the stock market did today. All right, I know silver was up last time I looked at it. Market Watch. I like Market Watch because it gives me good insight. So yeah, the stock market went up big today because there was a lot of people were in work. So the June jobs report was fantastic. Job report shows Trump has wrong. So they're liberal. They don't like Trump, and they try to say that everything he does is wrong. But when you look at the stock market, every time he's been in office has gone up bigly. All right. You can't argue with it. Can't argue about it. So crypto is up. I think it hit a new high, 110. I think XRP was 230. Silver was up big. It was up at 1.37. It tried to punch over its high for a multi-year high, which is at 37. I think 40, 37.40. I think is a 52 week at 37.40.05. It's 52 week range. You have to go back 12 years to get that kind of high. And of course, it was one big spike, and then it just like came down fast. And I had to sell my silver and go very fast to take advantage of that. It's like it's gonna crash. I wish I got out of the top, but when do you get out of the top? Never. Well, might have been once or twice I got out of the top, but it's rare. It's rare. Sometimes intuition slaps me upside the head and I listen, right? So, but today's range, it went up to 37.06. So there's resistance levels. It's basically building a bull flag. And it's, like I said, it's going to go higher, guys. So what is the percent gain right now? If you look at silver, it's unbelievable. Where is it? For the 1 year, it's right at 20. It's 19.96%. And year to date is 26.17. The averages on the Dow, the S&P, and the NASDAQ don't even come close. All right. And the silver is not done. Silver is just getting started, and it's going to like zoom. All right. So everything else crashes. So usually in these events, you see an all-time massive high in the stock market. I was skeptical that it was going to happen. I was predicting that it was a possibility, but I'm like, any pullback at this point, it could be over for the stock market. So I think we're going to get another little pullback. I don't think it's going to be the one. I think it's just a pullback in a grand scheme going higher. A lot of people will be like, see, I told you it's going to pull back. It's going to crash. It's not going to crash yet, right? I don't think. I could be wrong. But I'm not an investment professional, but I have been very accurate in a lot of other things. So a lot of other things. Silver, one of them, right? So, and crypto. I've nailed it on crypto several times and made crazy money. So let's look at delinquency rate on U.S. commercial mortgages. They're at an all-time high. So how does that relate to the stock market going to all-time highs? Again, you will see the last bastion of making wealth be the stock market. While everything else fails, like we're seeing in U.S. commercial real estate, it is failing. So if you look at long-term, like we're seeing here, you go back to 2000 where we had the crash, .com bust, and you look, that was a recessionary era, and then you had basically commercial real estate did a bump, right? Then it came down. It was doing really good in 2008, 2009, and then it went skyrocketed. And then we had the stock market crash, didn't we? Well, financial crisis, the Great Recession. It was pretty much a depression, but anyway, Great Recession. And then, of course, we had the oil bust. And then it just basically went back down to 2020. 2020, of course, we got a little spike. Look at that little spike. It's like, yawn. And then in 22, we had a little down. I thought I was like, this is it. The stock market's going to crash. And then it turned around and went back up. Somebody manipulated it. Yep, that happens. And then it just went up and up and up and up. And we've been hearing about these commercial real estates that have been, 80, 90% empty. And they've been somebody bought them for like $100 million and they're selling for $10 million. It's just crazy. Like 80, 90%, crash in the commercial real estate. And as you see here, remember the .com bust, not .com bust, but the 2008, 2009 bust, the Great Recession. This is higher. This is much higher and going higher. So the commercial real estate crisis is still getting worse. What do you think that's going to do to the stock market? Hello. What do you think that's going to do to silver? What happened when this crashed? Silver went to all-time high. Hello. Why offices are dying, the end of the gathering age. So during the COVID pandemic, everybody realized we don't have to go in. We can do Wi-Fi. We don't have to go in that office anymore. And now we're going into the AI age. It's artificial intelligence and Microsoft, because they invested heavily in artificial intelligence, are laying off thousands and thousands of people. So that's the trend, guys. We're seeing a bump in people going back to work. Maybe that's because Trump is getting rid of all the illegal aliens, right? But probably, right? But we're seeing in the high tech where the good paid jobs are, we're seeing those jobs starting to be obliterated. And eventually that's going to have an obliteration on people's portfolios. So the ticking time bomb, it's about to get much worse in 2025 alone, 957 billion, a staggering 20% of all outstanding commercial and multifamily mortgages will mature. So if you got a low rate and you got a floating, like when you'll lock it in, I remember this happened in the last crash. People got in at 3-5% or whatever, and then it zoomed up like it has, and then they had to lock it in. And now people are finding out their mortgages are underwater, and what that means is the house that they bought for $1 million is now worth 800,000, or maybe even less, depending on where they're at. If they're in Florida and they bought a condo for that much, it's a lot lower. All right, a lot lower. No one wants and that's the same thing happened in the last housing crash, guys. Florida was like a canary in the coal mine, and same thing's happening now with Florida condos. Canary in the coal mine. Same thing happening in Las Vegas. Canary in the coal mine. Both those states, both those real estate areas were canaries in the coal mine. And then everybody's like, it'll never happen in California. California is starting to have their real estate prices go down. All right, so layer on top of this, the $37 trillion national debt with 11 trillion maturing soon and needing to be refinanced at higher rates. Why do you think President Trump is jumping up and down and saying, Powell, lower those rates so we won't have to pay so much? And he's not going to do it because he's part of the Dem system. He's part of the Luciferian leftist. So he's going to drag his feet, and he's not going to do it. So I don't know. Trump's going to have to do the hard thing and basically do away with the Fed. Right? Congress is poised. I'm sure he's ready for that. Is poised to raise the debt ceiling by another $4 to $5 trillion, the largest increase in history. And I wonder if Hakeem Jeffries will do a marathon, no one cares speech and delay it. Right? I don't know. I don't think he will, because Democrats like to spend money. They don't like to save it, and they don't like to give it to other people that deserve it. They like to have it for themselves, right? And they're not getting it for themselves anymore, because all of those things like USAID and all the different things that they were using to like money launder, they're getting exposed and taken down. So they're angry. They're angry, and they're going to go away. They're going to go away. The human cost layoffs, unaffordable living, and despair. Right. So that's coming. The economy is going to crash, and we're going to see a lot of that stuff go away. Right. So, I mean, it's good because, who can afford housing these days? I can, because I invest in silver, but it's not the housing that I want. The housing I want is like way overpriced from where it was back in 2011. COVID basically blew up because trillions and trillions of dollars flooded into the economy, and then people used all that money to buy real estate, and it like jacked it up. So it has to go back to the norm. And the norm, usually when you go to the norm, usually past the norm, it go a lot lower. And that's where, if you've been, preparing, that's where you want to buy. But not a lot of people will buy there. They're like, I don't want to touch that stuff. And that's when you want to buy, right? Just like right now, I would not be getting more into, because we're going to see this. Going to see stock market go down, probably see crypto go down again, and silver will go up, gold will go up. Because I think silver basically has decoupled from the stock market, like it did back in 2008, 2009, right? So when we see the stock market, it did a herky-jerky down, and then it just like ramped up. Same thing happened during the dot-com bust. It did It did a big down, and then it did a big pump up, which we're seeing right now. It went a little bit higher than it did the last time, and everybody's like, "We're all in. We're all in. Everybody's in." The Shoe Shine Boys buying stocks right now, and we don't have any Shoe Shine Boys anymore. Well, who would be buying stocks at? So everybody's buying stocks. So, back in the like the roaring 30s, 20s, whatever, they said this one analyst was like, "I knew it was time to get out of the stocks when the Shoe Shine Board was telling me the stocks he was buying." I was like, "Oh, okay." So that means the greed aspect is at an extreme level right now. When the fear aspect gets at an extreme level, like it did a couple months ago, then that was turnaround time. So now we're probably going to see another turnaround time. Now, will this be the one where it crashes? If we have earth change event, could be. Although I don't think the people in the stock market will care. Like, millions died all around the Pacific. Massive tsunami. Buy stocks. It's a great time to buy stocks. So it will be the last. It will be the last thing. It's always the last thing, guys. Stock market explosion upwards. And then when that crashes, everything goes down. So this would actually be a good time to start to reduce the interest rates. But they're not going to do that because it's deep state and they like to screw everybody over. Like Hakeem Jeffries made all those Congress people stay there for 8, over 9, almost 10 hours, whatever. It's like, geez, crazy. So yeah, those guys in the Congress and Senate, they don't care about us. They care about the special interest groups that fund them and keep them in power. So we need to get to the point where you can only be in there for 8 years. That's it. They do that for president. Why don't we do that for the rest of Congress? Right? It's corrupt system. It's got to go. It's going to go. There's no way it can survive. It will be like all of those men that are competing in women's sports. You think that's going to survive? That's not going to survive much longer. Those days are numbered. Those days are numbered. And if you still see one or two out there, it's like, you lucky boy, because you about to get shit beat out of you. All those women, they're not going to put up with it anymore. All right. So, and that's when it'll change. When the women say enough is enough, we're going to kick your ass. Like they did back in the COVID days where the school systems were doing their bullshit. Right. And, the mama bears came in and said, "You're not going to do that, my child, anymore." And then it changed. And then the whole COVID lie collapsed because the mama bears came out. And that's what we're going to see again. You're seeing Iran collapse right now. Why? Because the mamas, they like their high heels. I got to have those high heels. I saw that in a lot of Middle Eastern countries. When you see the women in their less burqa'd, but they have like those high-end high heels, and they have those nice bags, Louis Vuitton or whatever. It's like they're going to be in Western wear soon. And within a year or two, they are. So that's what's happening in Iran. And so that mullah group, which wants to put them in burqas, they're going bye-bye. Women power. You go, girl. Come on. Let's kick some ass. All right, guys. You guys that aren't intuitive, I feel bad for you. So, I hope you survive the earth changes. If they happen, I don't know. I feel pretty confident they're going to happen. But maybe they won't happen as much. All right, guys. Shut down the stock market, run your business or sell your business. No need for the stock market to decide that for you. That's good, Tron Master. I agree. So yeah, create your own business. Of course, in LifeWave, we have our own business. It's doing very successful, and we're helping other people be very successful. We'd love for you to join our team. But first of all, if you've never used LifeWave, use it first, and then you get your miracles, and you can talk about them, and we'll help you grow your business and become independent. All right. It's not going to happen overnight, and it's not easy for everybody, but if you apply yourself and do hard work, you will win. Winners, right? Winners. If you have the right tools, which LifeWave is, you will win, right? If you apply yourself and do the work. All right. Lots of love. Cheers, big nuts. What does that mean, Kellen? All right. Happy 4th of July. My producer's like yelling from another room. Happy 4th of July. So thank you, producer. Yeah, so she got me a show with Derek Johnson. We're like driving in the car coming back from Costco, and his manager, his producer, called my producer while we're in the car and is like, Derek's ready. Come on, you got a link. It's like, oops, we got the times wrong. So he was very generous, and she was too. And we moved it an hour, so we were able to do the show. So we're working to keep you guys informed and stay in the love vibration, stay positive, roll with the changes like REO Speedwagon, and you'll do well. All right. Until next time, which will be, I don't know, maybe I'll do a show tomorrow. It's like 4th of July. Why wouldn't I? We'll see if there's big earthquake out there. Right. Sorry. And then we'll report on it. All right. Lots of love. See you guys next time.